Good morning. Check 1, 2. He. Let me turn this up here. Check he. Hey, man. Yeah. All right. Good morning. It's Wednesday, September 6th. Yesterday was my oldest daughter's birthday, so she's watching. Happy birthday. We already hung out. We already did that thing. Get rid of this here. Busy day. And I got so I think I have a buyer for the truck, and so here in the next 6 hours, I got to figure out how to get the ELD out and clean the truck out. I was not expecting it to sell like that, so there's that. Um, so that's got some pressure on me, and then I've got an empty truck with no hours, and or hopefully empty soon, and then an empty. Then I got to figure out some needle and haystacks for a couple others. So fun, but I enjoy it. So let me fix a couple of things here. Make sure we handle this YouTube thing. But this is not going to be one of these 2-hour live feeds. If you are subscribed to Sterling or the Snorelord OG channel, we did a really great interview on Monday talking about my music side of me, I guess. A lot of people don't realize that was a big part of my life for many years, over 30 years. So I enjoyed that part of my life. I still do. I'm not in it as much as I am or should be or have been in the past, but either way, it was a fun interview. It allowed me to kind of tell the stories about the songs, the music that you hear in the beginning and at the end of these live feeds. That's also it's off the album Tempest of Eternity from Apnea, and also that's the song Weekend Embrace. It's like the middle part. So rate wise, I'm seeing a couple of changes that are positive. And what's interesting is a lot of these graphs and charts that are shown by DAT and Sonar and all that. I noticed that before I see these charts. Because I'm looking at freight all over the country. I'm looking at different things. There are times when I really don't need the low boards, and it's been pretty. It's been interesting to kind of see these things, and I'll go to DAT trend lines and see some stuff like, oh, that makes sense. So there's an uptick in volumes. So it's a little bit like, I don't know, Labor Day. I found some gems, for the Labor Day weekend, but it's hit and miss. You'll have one broker trying to move something for $160 out of a good area, and then you have other loads that are like $250 for the same amount of miles with no extra stops or anything. And it's kind of wonder where the variance is. It's getting harder and harder to book if you have a Gmail account. It's getting harder to book if you're a dispatch service. The brokers are extremely cautious right now, and it's getting interesting. There's been many times when Jeff and I have to do verification that a driver can book their own load from brokers that we're already set up with. So there's a lot of that. And then the agents are up to their discretion. Some agents will, make up excuses like, oh, you haven't had X amount of inspections and X amount of days and X amount of area, and others are quick to give you the load. A lot of, not too bad on the load cancellations. I know that Shannon dealt with that down in Florida, but it was to be expected because of the hurricane. I did not see her live feed with that she did with Jeff on Monday, but Well, no, I take it back. I saw bits and pieces of it, but for the most part, the minute that I made the final delivery there in Florida, I would have just hit deadheaded north simply because low cancellations and the uncertainty of power and road closures and people not showing up for work, would make the it higher, chances higher to not be able to book anything out of there. Um, there's another hurricane on the way. I don't know where it's going to hit, but it's out there. They think it's going to kind of rear its ugly head over the weekend. I don't know where at, though. I haven't been able to watch the news this morning, but I do know that there's one lurking out there. And so keep an eye on that. And for the most part, this is the peak time for us. Retail places are in full swing. This will really kind of show you the temperature of the economy, and it's getting interesting. So credit checks are incredibly important, and whether you're a broker looking for a customer or a carrier looking for a broker or a carrier looking for a customer, credit is important. There's a lot of brokerages that are not in good shape right now, and they're going from 30 to 60 days to pay, and they're struggling just as much as you know as everybody else with the low volumes and stuff like that. So just keep an eye. We do have an uptick in volume, and it's usually seasonal. You got the food and it's football season, so college and NFL, that creates a lot of revenue with all the food industry and the beer and the soda and everything else, and the raw packages that go with that. Um, Raw materials for flatbeds are probably hot and heavy in the southeast, trying to get to the hurricane-stricken areas. Um, so I mean, that in the holiday there is an uptick, but fuel is also jumping up. So historically, fuel tends to start to get a little bit cheaper this time of year. But I don't know, it's getting high, and it's starting to make a lot of owner ops, nervous. So it's getting interesting. So um, give me 1 second, I'll be right back. The other big news, if you just tuned in, is the truck is probably sold. There's supposed to be a guy coming up from Tennessee that's going to go. He wanted to be here this morning. I said I wasn't ready because I still have to get the ELD out, still have to get my stuff out. I didn't think the truck would sell until I got the interior picks done, but apparently I'm not even going to need them. So I got to figure that out. I was there when Jeff put the ELD in, but I know there's a couple of panels I might have to remove. So hopefully I can get it done. If not, I owe Jeff a bit of money for the ELD. That's going to be a tough day when we get that done, because as much as I'm ready to sell the truck, it's still tough, man. That thing's been a part of my life for since 2017, and I got to get over it. But I could easily get another truck if I want to, but we're gonna make this dispatch slash broker slash safety manager thing work. I've already had my first customer turn me down on the brokerage side. So So but that's the name of the game. Um, and I enjoy helping the drivers out when I can. And I'm here to help people make some money and hopefully make some for myself so I can survive. Then I'll have to watch my spending. All right, we should be back. Internet's being all weird, so let's do our shout outs here. Go truck yourself. Good morning, Mike Nine Toes, Woot Watt. Good morning, Killians. Rolling into Chicago. Excellent. CDN says I'm early. Good morning, Steve. I am early. Too early. Elroy Logistics. Blessed morning to you all. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. Help you make some money this week. CB, what's up? From Little Rock. There you go. They saw a bunch of storms out there. Ponzi says, hell yeah. What's up? CDN rates on slight uptick equals broker hate status to fair. Yeah, it's spotty. And yesterday I was looking out of an area on the DAP board and there was like a bunch of brokers I did not recognize. And but it seems like every day Jeff's having to do a new carrier packet for someone, and we haven't had any. We've had a couple attempts at the scamming, but nothing concrete that I know of. Shannon, good morning. What's up? Good morning, Sterling. We working. I might be calling you here later, Sterling, with some help with something. So, Greg Zimmer, good morning. Go truck yourself. Is the trend more trucks leaving the industry than entering still happening? Um, that's hard to say. I think there's a lot of. I saw a graph yesterday on Facebook of delinquency on truck payments. So if that's the case, then think all I can, a lot of people call me and ask me, Steve, what's your prediction for this? What's your prediction for that? DIY calls me all the time. We talk about this kind of stuff and we kind of report to each other what we're seeing because he's on the reefer side, I'm on the van side, and it's like when I look at the last 2 years, and this is not just the market, I'm talking like the economy and all the stuff that social media wants to fearmonger you with. There's a lot of negative things out there, but then there are people out there that are still plugging away that are making money. There are people out there that have blinders on and they're making it work. They're adjusting to the circumstances. And I think that's what you have to do. It doesn't matter if you think the rates are going to come down or come up, right? If you're sitting there and you're barely making it and you're hoping that the rates come up to rescue your operation, it's a wrap. It's done. Because any rate uptick, in my prediction, is not going to be enough to save your business. And it's perseverance and cutting corners, not corners, but cutting, the fat off, trimming down your operation, maybe pivoting a little bit that will help you survive. And, if that means going to a contract freight, if that means changing companies, if that means, selling that $200,000 truck you got to get into something cheaper, then so be it. I mean, it depends on how much are you willing to do. If you're if you're trying to be the sole breadwinner as an owner operator, life is hard right now unless you're specialized doing hazmat or multi-stop or and you're working a lot more. So it's all, what are you willing to do? And a lot of people will focus their sacrifice on running hard and not going home, but they won't sacrifice like things like, well, I won't go here, I won't go there, or I don't have my numbers crunched down, they won't sacrifice that, but they'll stay out for months at a time, not realizing that they're not making any money, and all they're doing is straining their truck and their relationships. So it's a matter of balance, and it's tough to balance right now. You know, a lot of owners are working harder than they have had to, and or they're having to crunch pennies, or they're having to go without a few things right now, and it's a tough gig. So, you know, are you willing to go through that? You know, the great cult of being an owner operator. You know, what is that worth to you? But as far as the trend, I still see people either paying themselves or the truck. They're not able to do both, and that's going to be a problem. You know, one of the earliest advice that I ever got when I first started driving was, if you ever become an owner operator, the truck gets paid first. So that makes it harder to raise a family as an owner operator. I'm not saying it's not possible. I mean, it is possible. I know people that have done it and are doing it, but you know, you have to, you know, what are you willing to put up with? What are you willing to sacrifice? And you know, and if there's certain things that you're not willing to do, have you adjusted your business and your lifestyle to make sure that you don't have to do that? I think that's where a lot of the stress comes from. You have to do things that you have to do things that you don't want to do. Whereas as long as you have a choice, as long as there's hope, I believe that's kind of where the success lies. You know, if you have no choice but to go into New York City because of that load, and that's the best paying load, and that's the only thing that's going to rescue your operation, you're probably not a very happy person. But you know, if your truck goes down for a week and you're not stressing on that because you know the bills at home are paid and you've got money in the bank, then you know there's a difference there. And to be able to be in a shop, because you will be in the shop. I don't care if you're driving a brand new truck you bought today or you bought something 20 years ago, you will be in the shop. And how do you handle those moments when you're in the shop? You know, how's the house going to survive? How is your operation going to survive? How are you going to survive? And if that answer brings fear to you, then use that fear to create a scenario where there's no fear. So that's where you're at. That's where we're at. So it doesn't matter what the economy is about to do. It doesn't matter what the market is about to do. You need to be able to be flexible with, you know, kind of like a tree with good roots. You know, it can bend with the wind, and that's what you need to do. And a lot of people don't have deep roots. They came out when the market was great. They thought that that was going to be the new norm, and lo and behold, they're having some surprises right now. And everybody's outside of their comfort zone right now. And, you know, in an effort to make it. And how long can you survive outside of the comfort zone? And, you know, I'm, I'm, I'm selling my big comfort zone in you know, that's behind me here. So I'm scared crapless, man, you know, but we're going to make it work. We're going to make it work. So Henry Duncan, good morning, caveman. GoHighway.com and Parade are using new analysis to disrupt fraudulent and bad carriers. That is true. Bull money, says Thomas Wilson. GoHighway.com now requires every 17-digit VIN number for semis and trailers to be listed on the carrier's COI. Unless you have a blanket policy, I've never seen this, and insurance companies are not happy. Extra work to add these VIN numbers and sending out updated COIs with every change. One small step for Snorelord, a giant leap for trucking. I have a question for you to think about, says Sage. Does a broker have the right to turn down a good qualified carrier because of price without a power of attorney from the customer? I have no idea. I'm sure you know the answer. Good morning from Florida again. Looks to me like fuel may go up 20 to 30%. I'm with you on that, Ponzi. You're not qualified to make that type of prediction, Steve. You're right. I'm not. I'm not qualified. I'm not qualified for anything. I'm just a guy trying to survive and seeing what I'm seeing. And so you always prepare for the worst. What are you going to do if fuel hits $6-7 a gallon? What are you going to do? What are you going to do if the market, if the economy completely dumps and half of your freight is gone? What are you going to do? How do you handle that? I know what Thomas Wilson's going to do. And so I tell people now, I said, dude, I don't make predictions because you have so many, in the whole, there's a narrative out there that we need to be fearful of new shutdowns and new mandates. And I don't think the country will survive that if that happens. And so that's going to disrupt everything. So the best predictors of the freight market, since that's where we're living at, is looking into of what imports are doing, what other economies and other countries are doing that we depend on. We're very dependent on other countries for our freight. That's the gist of it. Now, a point was made yesterday that as trucking has always been the canary in the coal mine on the upswing and the downswing. And so if the economy is starting to improve, we're going to see it first. But there's no big factor that tells me that the economy is improving. And a lot of the millionaires are now starting to scream, "Hey, man, things aren't right," and so you have to be prepared for that. There's nothing you can do to keep it from happening. All the fear mongering and all the podcasts that you listen to and all the predictions you can make will not help you unless you have your own house straight. That's the gist of it. And if you have a bunch of loans and a bunch of debt, life is going to get incredibly tough out there for you. I mean, if you look at the homeless situation in some of these bigger cities, that's caused by two things. The fact that cost of living is so high, and also, drug, because we're all stressed. We're all addicted to drugs or have mental illness, and then on top of that, now it's too costly to have an apartment in LA. Next thing you know, you're living in a tent on the sidewalk on Hollywood Boulevard. Those things are what you should be concerned about. So to get your own house straight is important, because there are bigger things coming that you may or may not be able to handle. I like this, CB. Modern trucking is a finance puzzle, not a revenue puzzle. It's interesting. And no, we might need a new transmission and for sure a new AC system. It was hot. Wow. If fuel hits $6 and freight cuts in half, I'm selling the truck, becoming a mail stripper. I'm going to park my truck and go to my condo on the beach and drink my coffee and enjoy life. There you go. See, I knew that. I knew that about you, right? Sage only customs brokers hold a POA. There are no POAs in freight brokering. I've never heard of this. So, I wish I were living on Hollywood Boulevard. A friend of mine recently visited. It's been a few years, but he visited Hawaii, and Hawaii actually has the highest homeless rate per capita because it's so nice out there. You have people that are willing to live in a tent off the beach because it's too expensive to have an apartment or a house there. I used to live out there. I don't remember seeing hordes of homeless, but people get out there because of a job or something. They lose their job and they're kind of trapped out there. They can't afford a plane ride home. So they live in tent cities, and that's not, Hawaii keeps that under wraps because that would hurt tourism. And just like California is trying to keep that under wraps. Everybody's seen, there's a live feed every night of Kensington Avenue there in Pennsylvania, and it feels ridiculous to be worried about if fuel's going to go up or if rates are going to go up when you see the bigger problems. And so I try to keep some blinders on to keep focused on helping the drivers do what they can to make it in this environment. We give them a platform. The carrier's actually grown this year, and so there's a lot of positive things happening. I've made a lot of positive moves this year that could benefit me in the future. I don't have time to listen to the podcasts that tell me that the world's about to end, because that doesn't do me any good. Doesn't do you any good. Doesn't do me any good. And and I made the warning years ago about the 4 fits that you needed. Mental, financial, physical, and spiritual. And if you don't have those things, or at least working on those things, man, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be tough. If that brings fear, or if my words make you angry, then you have to look at that. You have to look deep into that. Why is that? And so the rest of the year, it's going to be a roller coaster of a ride. Now, the positives, I'm seeing an uptick in some rates. I'm seeing an uptick in volumes for sure. In certain areas, there are some areas that they're wanting $1.60 a mile for 5 and 10 stops. Stuff that used to pay $2.50 a mile. That's kind of disheartening. So I move on and look for something else. Changing strategies is there's no problem with that. Have a big plan, have a master plan, but changing strategies it's okay, man. It's okay to take a break and do something else for a minute. It's okay to change what you're doing. It's okay to mix things up. It's okay to figure out what works through trial and error. That's how you learn. Failure is how you learn. And is what makes you stronger. So don't be afraid to quote unquote fail. So if I fail at this and I have to buy another truck to get out in the open road, then that's fine. I'll make it work. And until then, I'm enjoying the experience, and it'll be an interesting time, right? And so, but we have many drivers that are making it. They're doing very well. They're even running in areas that are traditionally bad areas. And there's a lot to be grateful for. There's a lot to be thankful for. And again, there is an uptick in rates a little bit. There is an uptick in volumes, but it's not enough to save your business if you're struggling. So it's up to, it's either surviving the storm or figuring something else out. And that's what you have to do. Mr. Charles, good morning. Hope you're okay. Haven't talked to you in a minute. Live stabbing vids are a trip, man. Yeah. The old man, what's up? SST, what's up? Todd Norris, good morning. Go truck yourself. Be prepared for bad things is one thing, but nothing positive will ever happen for someone who's constantly thinking negative. That is absolutely true. I wholeheartedly believe that. And if you soak yourself in nothing but negativity and darkness, then that's what's going to engulf you. So, hashtag blue zones, hashtag live to 100. No idea what that means. Hellfire is just the same old truck and it ain't going to change, right? Thomas makes a great point. This is the only constant thing about trucking is that it's always changing. And once you figure something out, man, it's going to change. The company that Thomas is with could easily lose their accounts with the snap of a finger, or an angry CEO, or a bad ad campaign, like Budweiser. All it takes is one thing to completely shatter someone's world. You can have a car cross the median and wipe out your business instantly, if not your life. And so it's just, that's why, go back to the tree analogy. You're a tree with strong roots. You got to survive the wind. You got to survive the storms. You got to survive the hail. You got to survive if a tornado comes on, there's nothing you can do about it. You survive or you don't. And that's just how life is. It's just it's not worth living in fear over. Use the fear and anxiety to your advantage, and say, okay, why am I fearful of this? Why, if this happens, why does that bring me anxiety? If on the what ifs, and try to change what you can control of the what ifs. That's it. It's that simple. And so it requires a dose of humility. It requires a dose of self-reflection. It requires moments of quiet, peace, meditation, prayer. It requires all these things to really look and be honest with yourself. And a lot of people are like, well, God will sort it out. No, you've got to put some effort into it as well. And so once you figure these things out and you learn not to react to the things that aren't worth reacting to, you're halfway there. That's it. It's that easy. It's easy, but it's not. It's that simple, I guess, but it's not easy. That was a term a warrior poet said in his book. It's simple, but it's not easy. And that's kind of where we're at in life right now. If you have to buy a truck, did you sell your truck? Yes, hopefully. I've got a very busy day because I got to clean it out today because the guy is supposed to be here tonight or tomorrow morning. So, Ponzi, if you quit supporting them communist Democrats and jump on the orange man wagon, you might make it to Hollywood. Oh no, you're going to start a political deal here. Move like Jagger, freeze like McConnell. I mean, and look, the government ain't going to rescue you. That COVID relief, we're all feeling the pain from that. All the EIDL loans and the PPP loans, and we're paying for that. You paid for it during your taxes this last couple of years. I know I have. And the only one that can rescue you is you. It's as simple as that. I'm gonna make a coffee mug that says this is as simple as that. I'm a simpleton. There's no, like Ponzi's, he's got a very positive, simplistic view of trucking. He doesn't get lost in the minutia, and it's worked okay for him. He's doing all right. Now, is his way the only way? No. But everybody's got their own way of doing things, and I respect all of them. I do know what works for me, right? And so selling the truck is a step into management that I've been wanting to do, that Jeff and I talked about when I first came over to Like Trucking. I've accomplished that. I'm pretty secure in that. And because I wasn't secure for the last year, it's cost me money. The truck costs money to sit, and I probably could have gotten about 20 grand more had I sold it in the peak of selling trucks. But at that point, I did not have faith in many things. Now I do. But mainly I had to have faith in myself, right? Doesn't matter what Jeff does. Doesn't matter what the market does. Doesn't matter any of that. I had to have faith in myself that I could rise above any occasion that would come across my line of sight. And that's where I'm at in life. Short of a tornado tearing the house up, I think I can survive just about anything, knock on wood. But life is interesting, right? Shattered World, Alex Express got a telephone in hand ticket in a CMV. He gone. Didn't that happen several years ago as well? I thought Thomas? I didn't get none of that. Ponzi, yep, everybody is unique yet easily replaced. Sage, simple answer is yes, but you will say that freight brokers cannot set rates. POA has nothing to do with it. At least I've never been advised. What is the answer? Yes, life is interesting. And it's worth it to hang out for a minute. It's worth it, you know. There was a post on Facebook in my Facebook memories of a friend that posted, you know, one of these positive memes, and he ended up killing himself a couple of years after that post because he wouldn't reach out for help, you know, and everybody that knew him said, man, if we only would have known, maybe we could have done something. And you know, at the end of the day, here's something to think about. Okay, we're going to get deep here. We're not even talking about rates at this point. Imagine what your life looks like 10 years from now. Take away all the social media fear mongering. You know, don't sit there, oh, we're going to be under nuclear war and blah, blah, blah. You know, don't ignore all that. Okay. 10 years from now, what's going to be important to you? If someone said that you had cancer, is what you're worried about. Oh, hold on. All right. I think we're back. Are we back? Oh. All right. Yeah, it says we're back. All right. So if you were given 3 months to live, what's important to you at that point? And there's your answer. This truck's not important. That trailer's not important. This YouTube's not important. What's important is family and experiences. That's what's important. And that's where I'm at in life, man. Life's getting shorter for me. And I feel like I've figured out a few things a little bit too late. So, retired trucker, I'm having coffee with my coffee. There you go. CN says if you haven't watched the new Netflix show Live to 100 Blue Zones, some great strategies to consider. Or should I say add to your current daily life? There you go. I'll have to check that out. So I still am paying for Netflix. I don't know why. I'm not using it a whole lot, but I think I'm waiting for Cobra Kai. I read a book about that city and interesting stuff. Okay. Well, my wife knows what you're talking about. So, anyways, we'll do a quick 1, 2, 3 low board kind of deal here. 48065 on the code if you want 30 days for free to take a look at it, see if there's something you like. And then I have a code at 30 days free. You get $35 a month for all the tools that you see here, except for Cargo Chief, which is an incredibly important tool. So let's look at load availability. Let's put the screen on the screen. Done that before. Let's take a look at van first. A lot of reds and yellows in the van world. Of course, the same areas are still good. Texas it's kind of bipolar right now. California as well. Florida is definitely 741 in, 373 out, 237 interstate. New Jersey is the only state that you're probably going to get anything good out of in the Northeast besides New York, and that depends on where you're going. but rates traditionally in Jersey and New York and Maine are traditionally lower. If you're a long haul guy, you're going to end up in a bad area at one point or another. So make sure you're getting it in one direction at least, getting your revenue that you need. If you're running short haul through here, the short range is decent, but one bad load, one canceled load, two of a long dock time, or a situation like what Shan was dealing with yesterday can throw it all off. And if your daily revenue is too tight, where you miss a day, it hurts. That's also a strategy that has its challenges. I have some drivers that like to run short. And I have some drivers that want the longest run possible. And either way, you're looking at something that's a challenge, and that's the market we're in. So this is the van world. Um, Colorado is yellow instead of red. So let's take a look at what's coming out of Colorado. I imagine a lot of it's beer and cans, empty cans, and some furniture. There's a lot of furniture that comes out of Colorado. And you pretty much want to be in the Denver area if you decide to go to Colorado. But you're looking at a lot of partials too. Like here's Epps has Denver to Grand Prairie for 25,000 pounds, $300, or 2,500 pounds. Sorry, 37 cents a mile. It's incredibly hard to link up a bunch of partials in the van world. Flatbed, step deck, it's a little bit easier. So there's some good rates going to Nevada out of there, but here's Akron, Colorado to Kansas City, Missouri. That's a short 542-mile run. Picks up tomorrow at 2 p.m. Delivers Friday. Depending on what time this delivered, this would stage you in a good spot to get a good load out of Kansas City. But look at the cargo chief. It's at $1.64. So you're looking at $1.20 to $1.64 for the most part. And that's a little bit better than deadheading, depending on the customer and the time, transit time. So there's a way to make Colorado work. Let's take a look at upstate New York here, or New York in general. Watkins Glen, Oregon, Ohio. Let's take a look at that one. That doesn't pick up till the 14th. So a lot of the stuff that's that far ahead is going to be contract stuff that they've agreed. Oh, this says hazmat. Oh, maybe hazmat, no. Cargo value 0. So they got some default thing going on. Most time this is going to be salt coming out of Watkins Glen. I've picked up there. Nice view as you're picking up to the lake. Let's look at the highest paying thing coming out of New York here. Let's do the highest rate. 4,200 to go to Las Vegas. 4,200 to go to Nevada. So San Diego, you're at $1.39, $3,800. That's a lot of time for that money. So Rochester, New York to Mobile, Alabama. That's not bad. 3,100, 252 a mile for 1,230 miles. I bet you it's got multiple stops. Let's take a look at this. Christmas blend. So I wonder if it's coffee. So that might be a legit load. 3,100. So there's got to be something to it, either the drop trailer or multiple stop. Let's see, Niagara Falls to Denver, Colorado. Almost $2 a mile, $3,000. So you can grab this, then hit Denver, and then grab a shorty to Kansas City for $1.60 a mile, and you're not doing too bad. Better than coming out long out of New York and taking a beating both directions. Of course, there's the Florida stuff too, which that's a challenge in and of itself. Let's take a look at reefer here. Less yellow, more red, but more green over in this area. So let's take a look at let's take a look at well, actually, for comparison's sake, let's take a look at New York. And we've got sorted by highest rate. You're getting 310 a mile to go to Miami. Only a $1.74 to go out to Phoenix. I don't know why they're not paying to go into Phoenix anymore. That's tripping me up a little bit. Like you can go to Houston for only $200 less for 800 miles less, and you're going to get a better rate out of Houston than you do Phoenix. So this is the kind of stuff that kind of like, like it's just kind of weird when that happens, right? Historically, it was good to go into Phoenix, and then you took your hit coming out. You need that KC. Yeah, we'll take a look at it. I'll get on that first. I got to make sure that broker's approved. Good morning. Robin is driving, and I'm drinking Pete's and watching. Excellent. Take the money and roll, drivers. Have a safe one, y'all. On the flip. Check on the flip. Todd needs that Kansas City. Is there a long haul destination where out and back shorties will float you until an outbound materializes? Yeah, New York is kind of like that. If you go to PA, take a shorty to Ohio, and then from Ohio you can go long. That's the kind of thing that I would look at. So it just depends. Still amazing that wait time is an issue in 23. Rejected lows should not be a thing with the available technology to manage inventory. Truck parking shouldn't be an issue. Angel says, according to Rick Santiago, he's making $2K a day in dry van with partials. I call bullcrap. I do too. We all know. Is that the same guy that failed to show up at his own protest? Yeah, that's social media at its worst, man. I don't know this guy, but from what I've seen, there's a lot of fakeness on the social media guys. Just know that. There's a lot of people that are struggling that won't tell you that they're struggling because they're dishonest. And they may not just be dishonest with you, but they're dishonest with themselves. They're lying to themselves thinking that they're doing good. I know car haulers can do something like that. I know that flatbed and step deck can make those kind of partial loads work. But you know what? It takes a lot of coordination. It takes a lot of knowing your markets. It takes a lot, but you know, partials are definitely a challenge. It seems technology is not solving what could be a long-term issue with the logistics industry. No, it's making it worse. There are some things that are better, but a lot of things that are worse. Angel says yes, it is. Yep. See, so I will never take a word of whatever that dude says seriously ever. The way he talks to brokers, there's no way he's getting 2K a day. And if he does get 2K a day, it's like maybe a week. But I could be wrong. Maybe he's got a special advantage that he's not going to tell you about. He said that all of his trucks are making 10 to 12K a week. He's a joke. Yep, 2K a day doing partials one day a week. Right? Yeah, that's about it. Now, if he's doing specialized multi-stop, that is possible. But that's it. That's not partials. That's not picking up a pallet here and a pallet there. It's delivering partials, taking a full truckload and delivering it 20, 30 times. That is possible because I've done it on a couple of drivers. But that's not really technically partials, that's multi-stop. So, but you're looking at 330 a mile to go to Florida, of course. So your best rates are Texas, Florida, but then here's another one: New Berlin, New York to Burley, Idaho, $1.50 a mile. and that's not too far from its normal rate. So you have to pick what's worth doing, right? So let's go to flatbed. We'll throw in our step deck here. Look at that. Flatbed capacity is through the roof, man. Freight is dropped. Now, usually California and Washington are green on the flatbed. Today it's only Oregon. Of course, the Southeast as usual. And then up here, the steel belt. And then Maryland's lit up for some reason. So this is your flatbed step deck. So let's take a look at New York, since we've been eyeballing New York State. Highest rate is $2,900, $259 a mile, going to from Binghamton to Gainesville, Florida. Imagine there's a lot of freight going to the Southeast because of the hurricane right now. Yep, it's all Georgia, South Carolina. But look at this, $1.08 a mile. It's a partial right there. See if we can find a full load. Here we go. 48,000 pounds. Go to New York to North Carolina. $1.71 a mile. So you guys that jump to flatbed to avoid van rates, well, here you go. Now you're working twice as hard for the same amount, if not lower money. So that's how it goes, man. A lot of trucks in the system that don't need to be in the system. So anyways, 48065 on the code if you want it. Check it out. And that's it. So let me do a couple more shout outs and then we're going to end this feed. Canadian carriers been doing parcels from USA to Canada have been getting 1.5 to 2 times on revenue versus a one pick, one drop truckload, rare for many years. Ryan OCD, what's up? Is Convoy in trouble? I saw a Reddit post saying such. I've only ran a few of their maybe a year ago. Yeah, they're trying to pivot. I'll give you a perfect example. A driver needed something, and he posted. He showed me a load posting that Convoy had, and it said, "This is a such and such brokered load. You need to fill out a carrier packet for such and such broker." So I got on the DAP board, and there was that broker. I checked their credit; they were good. I called that broker and booked that load. I bypassed Convoy completely. I don't know the sense of that. At least when you call a Landstar agent that's co-brokering, you know they're not telling you who the broker is. But Convoy's like, here, you like the purpose of using Convoy is I don't have to set up a carrier packet or one of them, right? I'm going to get paid quickly, and I don't need to fill out a carrier packet. And you take a new a carrier. So if they bypass their strengths because they're trying to pivot, what I've seen it over and over and over, that puts a person out of business. If you don't solve the problems and try to pivot into something that's easily worked around, why would you do that? And it just shows you how disconnected they are to the industry. Every single co-brokered Convoy load, I've been able to go to the original broker and book it. Every single one. So at this point, Convoy just becomes a load board. What's in it for Convoy? And I noticed their presence at Matt's for the last 2 years have been zero. Like they were there, but they weren't out passing out all the free stuff. They weren't, they didn't have their team of young students, asking truck drivers what they needed or wanted. They were very aggressive on trying to get on the good side of the industry in their early years. Now, not so much. So all the IT based platforms like Convoy and Uber, they're struggling right now because they missed the point. Uber used to have the best detention policy, the best TONU policy. Now they're just like any other broker. The advantages with Convoy is I can look at the addresses and the customer names, and then I can call the original broker that has that freight and wheel and deal with that person, with the human being that lives here. So it would not surprise me if they're in trouble. I know that they're having issues with the factoring company, but I believe it was resolved, and so, but I don't, whatever. Chucky's yelling at Brian. That makes no sense. Sounds like AI isn't so great. It's not AI. It's just their platform. Look, there's been many times I see a load on Convoy that fits what I need, right? So I'll do the bid, and it says, your bid is very high, so therefore we will have to wait before it's like, so I would call them and like, hey man, where are we at? Well, on this particular load, I can't wheel and deal with you because it's actually from another broker. So freight like this, I'm like, dude, get out of here. Next thing you know, me and 5,000 other drivers are not checking the Convoy app for freight. Now Convoy can't move the freight. And the co-brokering thing isn't working because you can just bypass them and go to the original broker. I do that to them all the time. And I don't know the advantage of like USA Truck using Convoy to post their Coke loads other than an additional load board. I don't know. Guess what? I got this email. See if I can find this email. Check this out. This is what the brokers want. Okay? This is the future. I might have deleted it. Oh, here it is. All right. I'm going to share the screen. Then I got to go. All right. It says here, this is Winter Bridge. It says, ditch your other load boards. Are you still surfing multiple load boards each day? Who has time for that? We have the solution. Warner Bridge. It's our new, easy to use freight platform matching you with freight across North America. You can view, book, and manage your freight deliveries all within Warner Bridge. Plus, you have access to high quality freight. So, no need to waste time with other load boards. It's time to find your next load. That's your future, my friends. How are you going to deal with it? So, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. 48065. Thank you for the support to the channel. Go check out Sterling's interview with me on the musical side of my world. And thanks to all the drivers that do what you do. And we appreciate you. Driver Appreciation Month this week is coming, where everybody gives you a cheap barbecue and a hat or a shirt that shrinks up after 2 washes. So that's going to be in full swing. Look for the companies that really do appreciate you, and I do. So, with that being said, strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Have a good day, and aggression turns to screws. Peace. Later.